What's up, guys? Welcome to the Beyond Jiu-Jitsu podcast, episode 129. Adam Childs, Kieren Lefebvre. We have got with us George Hanlan and Matt Morris, organizers of the upcoming Subversion Equinox event, which is on March 18th at UNSW. So we've got them in to talk about the upcoming event, who's fighting, who's headlining, who are they excited to see, and the ins and outs. Guys, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
So, Subversion. Let's go into a little bit of background first. We don't need to hear from Kieren unless he wants to say hello. No,
Hello.
Kieren, you're not. You just
Hello,
stay,
everybody.
You just stay there, push the buttons.
Yeah, sounds good.
So, give us a bit of background about Subversion, right? Because it's started pre-COVID, and I know that you, George, started by running, was it the Oz Sub only?
Sub only, yeah.
Which you said is now changed, right? Is
Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, so that's run by completely different people now?
Now Oz Sub, we just literally just changed over the name and rebranded, basically.
Oh, wow, you run Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
do you,
wow,
st- but do you, st- you still run?
Yeah, I think you came to the last one.
I did.
Oh, so you still run that as well?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Sorry, I thought you stopped running that when you started Subversion. Yeah. Okay, cool. And so Subversion started back before COVID, right? And then
way before COVID.
Yeah, and continued through COVID. So I know there was some, originally at UNSW, and then the event that I fought on was out at King's MMA or King's
live streams, yeah.
Yeah, because it was during COVID, so there were very limited spectators. But now there's already been the last two events, right? We're at
two back at the Roundhouse, yeah.
This will be our fourth at the Roundhouse. I think our 10th total.
Yeah, cool. So how did you guys get into running events to begin with? Because as someone who's a gym owner, I get heaps of students be like, bro, there's like no competitions where they do this and that. You should put one on. I'm like, I don't think I've never run a comp, but I, just at least what I know about jiu-jitsu competitions, I kind of turn to them and say, I don't think you realize how much work goes in. Like, it's not just like rent a hall and let's go jiu-jitsu competition. Like, fuck, there's so much that goes into it.
That's ridiculous.
Right? And then obviously it differs as well to running a regular comp like Jiu-Jitsu and Subversion, right? Where it's a, for lack of a better term, a super fight, event.
Yeah.
How did you get into running jiu-jitsu competitions and get into that world to begin with?
We have from Oz Sub only, a former partner, Raphael, we actually said, let's do an Oz Sub only, have a show, like an invitational event. And then he ended up moving up to Queensland, and it just became a bit difficult, like trying to organize everything. He was in Queensland, I was down here, and I just thought, it's not really going to work out because you're all the way up there. I'll just try and do it here. So trying to put it all together here, but I didn't really have a clue what to do really for a show. Like I could only just barely like run a competition event, but not really have a good idea of like an event, like an invitational
show
event
kind of thing.
Yeah, and it was just around the time when the quintet was. They did a couple of quintets, didn't they? Or it was on UFC Fight Pass and stuff. And sort of just ripped off that idea. It was like, we'll do a quintet event, grappling education.
It was the first one, right?
The very first one, just invited 4 teams, had a few like little super fights. It was just, it went very, very well, but it was just like super basic, really, wasn't it?
We're blown away though. Like we advertised like tickets on the door because we had no idea how to do ticketing and things like that. Yeah. And it got to a point where people were coming all the way from Penrith, and we're literally at Kogarah and we're turning them away, saying we can't let any more people in. And
for people not from Australia, like Penrith to Kogarah, I mean, you need a passport to go. It's so far. Penrith is super far. Yeah, super far west, right?
Yeah. So they were traveling a good hour to get to the event, and then we're like we felt so bad. We're like, sorry, like we cannot fit any more people in here.
Yeah, right.
So then George and I were just like, we've got something here, so we just. Every event we've just tried to progress from there.
And then how did it come to be that that first one came out of grappling education? Did either of you previously train there, or you just have a good relationship with Kel and all those guys who run GE?
And he was Kel's just like really easygoing. You know, he was just like always he's like super open for like new things. So I just said, you know, can we do it here? And he was like, yeah, he was up for it. And then we did one more at Sammy Backey's gym.
Which gym's that?
Gracie Humaita.
Right. Yep.
That was because they won. They were the winning team of the quintet.
Yeah,
so
right.
It was who was the first one? It was Kings, Gracie Humaita, Legacy, and Grappling Ed.
Yeah.
And so Gracie Humaita took out the quintet. So then George was like, all right, we're going to run a second one. You guys won the last one. Let's put it at your gym. Yeah.
And
then we did that time we did a no-gi. The second one was a no-gi quintet.
Yep.
Yeah. And
I remember that. Do you remember we weren't allowed to announce the 5 members of Gracie Humaita because it was Robert Whittaker was competing and they didn't want people just coming to see him. So we're like 4 people plus 1 special guest. So shit from a marketing perspective because
wonder who that is.
We can't announce the biggest draw.
And then on that event as well, it was like Gracie Humaita got eliminated, so they didn't make the final, and it was like the atmosphere of the whole place like dropped and like half the people just like left.
Oh, really?
Like, so it was a bit like, this is a bit weird. Like,
but that's a learning experience, right? I guess you probably, you know, maybe learnt from that experience. Okay, either a problem needs to be solved for this formula, or we just don't host these in people's gyms anymore.
I remember we had 2 massive problems. Do you remember you forgot your charger for your laptop? So we're like running around. I think we ended up timing off an iPhone. And then the final match was no time limit. Do you remember that? Kevin Ryman and Joel Costello, and it went for about 45 minutes.
Oh, did it?
And just kept doing overtime.
Joel's a good friend of mine. He's a super nice dude, and he fought on
the first one at the Roundhouse.
The first one at the Roundhouse. Yep. Against who did he fight again?
Warwick.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And who won that? I can't remember. Joel did
by decision.
What would you say is more difficult, running a regular comp or these sort of, you know, super fight events? I'm sure they each have their own challenges, but
seeing what Matt goes through, I'd probably say the super fight shows. Like, there's a lot involved technically, like the stuff that's beyond me that I don't have a clue about. Matt's, you know, super switched on with all that sort of stuff, and
so Matt, you run all the production for the events, so the production team, all the advertising material,
all the content beforehand, all the stuff you see on the big screens, all the live stream, and then I'm trying to film on the night to try and make more content for the next shows.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, even just doing something as simple as lighting for an event like that is a huge undertaking. Like, it is difficult just lighting alone, let alone coordinating all the moving parts.
We've had a lighting guy, don't we?
Well, we've got a lighting guy, we've got an audio guy, we've got a vision guy, we've got a live stream guy, then we've got a timer, then we've got me doing the video, like running around doing the stuff, plus then all that ticketing stuff. It's but luckily, like my background is events, so like I do shows in the city and, you know, bands and things like that. So I had that events background. That's what brought me and George together.
Yeah, after that, I think it was the second Subversion show, quintet we did, and then I was a bit like, okay, what do I do now? And then I was talking to Keller, like, oh, what do we do? And he was like, well, there's a big venue at the Roundhouse. They tried to do an event back there. And I was like, yeah, but I don't know what to do.
Yeah, like where do I start?
He was like,
why don't you use the guy that's been doing the last 2 shows?
He goes, well, Matt knows what he's doing with all that sort of stuff. And so I was just like, yeah, called up Matt, and I was just like, and I just basically just put all our eggs in one basket. Like, it was a big bit of a risk. Like, there was nothing really done before that on that sort of scale. I was just like, right, we're just gonna go all in and just hopefully everyone just jumps on board and supports it. And luckily, that's what happened.
Yeah, because I have a student who went to spectate that first event at the Roundhouse, and he said it was awesome. He really enjoyed it. He said it was great, and then so I was really excited to fight at the Roundhouse actually at the and then because on the next one, but then obviously COVID, and then I know every now and again I'll speak to George on Instagram who said, yeah, man, we'll throw you back on the card whenever you're ready. But I feel like I'm just one surgery after another. Well, I had surgery again in December. I had another knee surgery in December. Like, fuck, man, it's just. But anyway, I was really excited to fight at the Roundhouse because do you guys know Joey from Jungle Brothers? Yeah. And from Bulletproof. And so Joey is the one who went, and he said he was super pumped on it. He said it was awesome, So I was really excited, but never mind. Maybe one day.
Was it like meniscus? Have you had
I had. They actually took out my entire prepatellar bursa, so I was having chronic prepatellar bursitis. My knee would just keep filling with fluid. So they actually if you saw my knee, it's got a good 20 centimeter cut straight down the front of the knee, and they took a whole piece of my knee out the size of a chicken schnitzel pretty much. But it's still not recovered. It's still filling with fluid and stuff. And I mean, I could show you when we finish recording. My knee looks like a waterbed. It just jiggles. It's terrible.
So is Kieren been going for them? Is he just been cheekily trying to sub you?
Kieren's just trying to invite me to shoot double legs. So I slam down on my knee. Yeah.
It's my only opportunity.
So let's talk more about the upcoming event. So firstly, since the last event, right, it's streaming elsewhere, right? So I remember the one at King's was just
Facebook.
Streamed on Facebook, whereas now it's not, right?
Now we've been picked up by Flow.
Which I don't know if that's from your side of things. For me as a spectator, I go, oh, that's awesome. I don't know if you guys had to bend over pretty hard on the business side of things, but no, that's cool, right?
Yeah.
Does that take a bunch of work off you in good terms, because then it's their platform or it's their?
Yeah, yes and no. They just have a set thing, set bunch of rules that we just have to abide by and make sure we stick to, and they're pretty happy. They've been all right with us so far, haven't they?
Yeah.
And so does that mean just for this upcoming one on March 18th, it's just straight up the same way you would watch Worlds, you just watch it on Flow. Yeah, that's absolutely awesome.
Yeah, and because they reached out to us
pre-COVID.
They reached out to us before, and it was a bit it sort of just, we were talking a bit, and it sort of just fizzled out, didn't it? I think then COVID happened, maybe. Yeah,
because it's hard, right? This side of the world, because just obviously due to the internet, we're all very connected, but we are super removed over here, and that's why so many of Australia's top athletes go and live overseas so they can train and compete regularly. Obviously, there's a few who are really on another level who haven't needed to do that. Obviously, Lachlan Giles is one who hasn't needed to go live overseas and has done really well. But a lot of people leave because there's just, even if you had the training here, there's just not the regular amount of competition and stuff like that to foster being able to compete at a professional athlete level. And, so it then also leaves organizations like Flow and that it's hard for them to think, okay, we want to get a foothold in Australia, but the amount of resources and money to have a team over there, and then they're going to go cover the Sydney Cup, which is not taking anything away from that organization and, the little local competitions, but it's not like in the US where one weekend's the New York Open and the next weekend is this, and then there's who's number one, and then there's, whatever else, and there's UFC Fight Pass and all these events. So, but obviously you guys are doing enough that they've seen that and gone, man, this is, they're onto something. These could be our...
Well, that's how it came about, because we're in, like George said, we're in touch with one of the guys from Flow who's, he's, I guess, their scout, and he reached out, like I said, before, I'm sure it was before COVID, but then once we started putting on those Facebook live streams, they kind of saw, they saw our, production value, and they saw, that we're getting decent numbers, and people, there was, a thirst for it. So
yeah, not only decent numbers, but also the caliber of the athletes who are going on the show. You started with losers like me, and now you've got you've had Taliesin Suarez, like Ari's,
Ari's
Ari.
not
You've got
coming up.
Hope's fighting on this card.
Jeremy Skinner.
Jeremy Paul Skinner. So you're also now getting not just like big name, like not just, oh, this is a person known in Australia. You're getting guys who are like, well, that dude's a world champion, and like that dude made it to ADCC. Like you're getting international caliber athletes fighting on your cards,
but
right?
Like, I think that's a lot of George. Like he's built these up, so every event's getting bigger and bigger. You know, more people are going to want to be involved. And I think also George running the comps, like he sees people coming through, like he can pick up a blue belt or a purple belt, and this guy's got something. Foster that and kind of like you've done that with a few guys, I think anyway.
Yeah. And for this upcoming event, we've had to definitely pull out the checkbook and.
That's part of it. Though. The bigger you get, the more expensive things
that's
get.
That's good. It's like you can, as it's been growing, we've got more opportunity to pay people more. It's as it grows, bigger names, more money.
So have you guys, from what I've seen online, I haven't been able to find. Like, have you released the full card yet, or no? No, you haven't, right?
No. We've released a teaser, so our official poster has like little teasers.
Yeah, so I'm wondering.
So we put people here and there, but then we don't. And then we
that's what I want to get into.
Oh, hang on, they've been posted. I
so let me just.
These two main guys haven't.
Well, yeah. So let me exactly. So let me just go back onto your page.
Yeah, because I saw Jeremy Skinner at the front of the poster.
He's in the front of the poster.
Yeah,
he was. His fight with Taliesin ended up winning Fight of the Year, I believe.
Yeah, it did.
Which I was there for that live. It was, and the atmosphere was crazy. That whole card was awesome. I know that fight and the Josh Saunders fight went absolutely crazy. And there was one more just before. I think takedown. Josh, yes.
O'Sullivan.
Oh, man. Okay, so for those that don't know, I've got to describe what happened. Josh O'Sullivan was, no offense to his opponent, but he was smashing this kid, like smashing him. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he hits like a risky takedown. I can't remember exactly what takedown it was. But
Nathan went for like I can't even.
It was like a sacrifice or something.
Yeah, he kind of came. Yeah,
and he came in the side of Josh O'Sullivan's knee and absolutely blew out his knee. And I was trying to I obviously followed Josh as well, and I was trying to see like any updates on the injury. I didn't see anything, so I don't know what the extent was.
It was pretty bad. So Josh is like one of my best mates, and I kind of feel responsible for that because I was forever just chasing him and going, come on, you're going to do the big show, you're going to do the big show.
Yeah.
And
this is Josh who did Ninja Warrior, right?
So he said he finally said, "Yep, I'll do it." George goes, "Sweet, we'll go co-main event." We've got Nathan ready for him. It'll be an exciting match because both guys love putting on a show. Yeah. And he had Ninja Warrior 3 days after. It was the event was Saturday. He was Tuesday. He was in for Ninja Warrior for his 6th appearance or something like that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And he was dominating. And then after that happened, I almost missed the main event because I was in the background holding his hand in tears.
So what was the diagnosis? What was the injury?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but he was out for a good 10 months, I think. Like
holy shit! Did he need surgery or no?
I think he did. Yes.
LCL wasn't it? LCL.
Yeah, I thought it was MCL.
Okay.
One of the things that holds the knee together.
But before that, there was a takedown. Josh O'Sullivan won takedown of the year. It was fucking phenomenal.
That was beautiful. So that night had the 2 biggest takedowns that we've ever had, and it was Josh with that. I don't know what it was. He just kind of suplexed him, and then Pete Gallen with it was like a German suplex in WWE style.
Yeah, Matt's a big fan of the takedowns,
There hasn't been many. I think because the stage kind of lends itself to playing it a bit safe because there is dangers of coming off and things like that. But when there's some good takedowns, I appreciate it.
I found it interesting that Jeremy, the crowd, like the unanimous decision on the match of the year was a lightweight match where they were predominantly playing like the leg game and looking for a lot of guard, and I think that shows to the technical knowledge of the crowd and the audience that they really appreciate a match of that high caliber going on.
Well, have you when you go to like a UFC? Do you remember when Australia loves the UFC? I remember watching, it might have been UFC 110, I think, one of the first ones that came here. And Joe Rogan was like blown away because someone would be in half guard and then they'd get one leg over and they'd be in side control and the crowd would cheer. And Joe Rogan's like, these guys are so into, like, they know just, like, you know what I mean? They're that into the details of jiu-jitsu, and I guess we're all just a bunch of jiu-jitsu nerds, aren't we?
Yeah, I had a guy a while back come in to do like a trial class or something at the gym. So complete brand new white belt, and very typical like response to when I asked, oh, you know, why did you decide to try jiu-jitsu? Oh, I'm a big fan of the UFC, blah, blah, blah. Like, oh yeah, cool. And then like all of a sudden I look over and he's like trying to heel hook someone. And I'm like, hey, firstly, how do you even know what that is? You know, like,
back to that, on that Taliesin and Jeremy match, like how you're saying, like a lot of people know what's going on. There was also a small section of that crowd that just had a few too many. And they were right above me as well. And like they were, you know, shouting out some silly stuff.
I didn't hear that until I watched it back.
The whole time. It was hilarious.
what were they shouting?
Like, because Jeremy Skinner, obviously, of the Simpsons quote, like, Skinner.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And so I had, I think there was a stuff up with the audio that I was recording for that. So I had to use one of the camera's audio for when we released the full match the other day. It was sitting right next to a Sydney West guy. So every time Jeremy would do something, they're going, yeah, Jeremy. And I was like, oh, I hope no one picks up on this. Yeah. They thought it was one of our crew going, woo.
Yeah, right.
So this next event, it's a little bit shorter, like time-wise. So
you mean the matches or the amount of fights?
Yeah, we're hoping the whole
because the last one was there's quite a lot on the card. The last one, right? It was huge.
It goes for a while. So we're hoping by 9:30, 10, we're sort of wrapping it up, and hopefully the crowd haven't had too many last time.
But you know, like I think it's also I like the atmosphere of having the crowd interacting is way better to watch than whether you're watching it on a stream or live, rather than it just being like, we're not watching golf where some dude's holding the sign up saying quiet please. Like, you know, it's a fucking combat sport, you know, like
I've gone back and I've the last couple of weeks I've gone back and watched every one of our recordings, and I've documented wins, losses, subs, all this nerdy stuff. But anyway, watching the first one, the crowd is just, it's like you said, it's like a golf crowd. They'll win and they'll go.
The
next one we were like, come on, like pump it up. Like,
and the commentator being like,
going on.
oh yeah, there we go. Okay, he's trying to drag the leg there. And you're like, bro, just like fucking add some Joe Rogan energy to it. Like, let's go.
But that's what I want. I want the crowd going crazy.
You sent me that clip, and it's just of all the crowd like going
nuts,
going crazy. Yeah. But then at the end of the clip, it was just like, you know how that Just Bleed UFC guy?
Yeah.
It was like some guy just going, at the end of it, it was just like,
just
going like, super serious. I was just like, Matt, I've just got to edit that guy out.
What, you cut him out?
Yeah, I cut him out. I was just like, no.
I told him he'd be famous. When he did it, I gave him a high five. I'm like, check the page. And he goes, yeah, I'm waiting for it. So he's wearing a Whittaker shirt too. He's going nuts.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Who's commentating this upcoming event?
We're still working on the second guy. George has got an idea, but it's going to be Sonny Brown, as always. He's the voice of Subversion.
Yeah. But shout out to Sonny Brown Breakdown, right? His podcast.
So I know. So Sonny's also recently opened his own gym as well, hasn't he? So previously, I think Sonny was out of VT1, right?
VT1 and Lang's,
right? Yeah. But he's just opened his own gym, correct? Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, the Lang's closed down. Yeah, it's closed.
Did it?
Yeah, it closed down. So a bunch of them guys all just went over.
Right. Just due to financial issues, do you know? Like, it's always shit to see a gym. Oh, really?
Council and DA and stuff,
Yeah, right. Okay.
It looks like he's going well down there. Yeah. I went down on a Christmas Eve roll.
Where's he at?
He's in Brookvale.
Right. Yeah, nice.
So if I'm doing some investigative journalism here, you're still looking for another commentator. I think, did Jeremy Skinner commentate the last one?
Yeah.
If he's not available, that would mean
he may be fighting.
And he's on the poster.
He's on the poster. I'm waiting for us to get back. We very quickly derailed from me wanting to find out more of the matches.
That was definitely.
Still got the picture up.
I'm still sitting there. I'm like, okay, so Jeremy's on, but that also could just be some, some freedom of use because he was on a previous event.
He could be commentating. We've just used
him. He could be. Yes.
So, because
who else is on that poster? Does it?
Well, because I know you've shown. I'm just looking through the actual posts, right? So I know that Hope's fighting. I'm not seeing the post here your page, on the Subversion page, but I know that Ari is fighting Murillo.
Yeah, posted that last night.
Yeah, because one of them also shared it on their stories, which I think is going to be really obviously I don't know all the card yet, but from what I know so far, that's probably the match I'd be most excited to see, because I've trained with Ari since he was a purple belt, and I was saying to Kieren, Ari's like a similar but different version of Levi. You know, like Ari's trained with Levi for so many years. He's got a crazy difficult guard to pass. But then Levi and Murillo just fought at just fought at the AJP on the weekend.
Yeah,
and Murillo's really good, but I did kind of assume Levi just to completely have his way with him. And Levi did win, but it was only on like a sweep at the end. I expected, not taking anything away from Murillo, I believe Murillo's podiumed at Worlds, so he's very, very good. And I've only rolled Murillo once, and he's very, very good. But I did kind of expect Levi just to kind of do Levi and take his back and, you know, get a finish from the back, or at least take his back, whereas he didn't. You know, so I'm now interested to see how Murillo and Ari would go. Like, I think that is such a good matchup. I wouldn't even, if someone said, who's your money on, I don't even think I would place a bet. I don't know.
Is it a gi match or is it a no-gi match?
Yeah, gi.
Okay.
Yeah, which is
the
where
I got sent from Ari, he's in no-gi. So I don't know what this is.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're both definitely better known for the gi, right? And more gi guys.
Yeah, I went out there to my BJJ Westside a couple of times during the holidays, and I rolled Ari, and I'm 95 kilos, and he's what?
So hard to pass,
and I couldn't do anything.
Yeah,
I'm just like, shit. I've got to give this up, man. Like,
I mean, I'm probably pushing 105 or something at the moment, but usually, anyway, let's just call it 100 kilos. Usually, I am. And last time I rolled with Ari was probably over a year ago now, and I don't think I've ever had to. I had to get real nasty with like stacking and folding him in half and to pass him. Like his guard is so good. Yeah. You know, he's very, very tough. And so I really look forward to that match.
Yeah, I'm stoked to like get him on finally, and Hope as well. So
yeah, I don't know. Kieren knew more about Hope's opponent than I did. I don't know a lot about Miranda. Yeah. So I've trained with Hope for many years as well, but I don't know anything about Miranda.
She's always on the scene, always competing.
Didn't she get highest points for IBJJF last year or something?
She just ranked #1 for AFBJJ. She got the ticket to go to the AJP Worlds last year.
Yeah.
So she was messaging me a bit, you know, keen to get on, and I was just like, because it's so hard. There's such a small pool of women to pull from. But saying that, but then I saw that AJP bracket on the weekend it was a stacked division. So, but and again, a lot of them girls have fought each other multiple times already. But I was just like, Miranda, okay, just tell me who you want, and I'll try and get them for you. And she was like, I want my one with Hope. And I was like, right, I'll message you now. No, but she is a weight class above her. But she's going to be coming down and meeting in the middle sort of thing.
So what rule format are you guys doing for this one, or for the matches? So I don't know if it's changed throughout. Like when I did it, it was a submission only, and it was only, I think, a 10-minute match, or maybe even less. It might have been a 7-minute match or something like that, sub only. So what do you guys have your own unique set of rules? And obviously would be slightly different gi and no gi. What format are we looking at for the matches?
It's just, still just submission only, and it's just more based on like submissions, going for the submission, trying to finish the match.
So if it goes the time limit, there's no point system. It's just like referees' essential decision.
We've got 4 judges at ringside, and then the referee will also give a decision. So you got five people rendering their choice. And yeah, like George said, it'd be based on who goes for the most submissions. If someone gets a legit tight
Like,
submission,
is it actually legit opposed to
it's not
just
throwing up
like,
legs for a crappy armbar, and you know, if it's tight.
What do you guys think of like the EBI format or the ADCC format? Have you guys screwed around with like throwing out any ideas out there in those formats, or is this like the one that you found is most exciting?
Well, yeah, because I'm a big fan of ADCC rules as well. I don't know if you know, I do.
You run those the qualifiers.
I ran the
trials.
The trials in June.
Wow.
And
That's excellent.
Yeah, and then just like the opens that we've been, you know, we're doing the Sydney Open, we're doing the Melbourne Open, Gold Coast again. We're actually pushing that this year as well, trying to get a few of them comps happening as well. So, but yeah, big fan of them rules. But I think trying to implement them rules to the show, I think there'll be more contentious like disputes. Oh no, that didn't happen. Oh, and then just people coming back at me and arguing with me about, you know.
Yeah. I think, is it also, do you think the rule set we've got is a bit more like any person can come in and go, oh, you know, that's something I want to watch, rather than the ADCC? It might be a bit more confusing for someone who's got no idea. You know what I mean? Like say you're competing and you bring in your mum and your dad, and you know they don't really know what they're looking at. If they see you just, you know, dominating someone, they're going to know you're winning. Rather than ADCC, it's a bit more intricate. You have to know.
We saw examples of that last ADCC, even with our homegrown Jeremy Skinner. That controversial decision there, where there was like argument: did he take the bag? Was it a submission thread? You know, was it a sweep or whatever?
It adds so much more to the stress that we've already got running this show. Like
people are still arguing about that shit. So I like the format.
And is it still 7-minute matches?
Most of them.
The headliners are longer though, right?
Yeah, the co-main and main 10 and 15, or just whatever just we agree on.
And is this the same for the, like, because it's not just black belts, right? We know there's like colored belts who fight as well. Same format for them as well.
Yeah.
Well, we've made a decision for this one. Like to be on the show, to be invited on the show, that you have to be purple and above, and anyone, you know, white or blue, to get on the show, you have to win your way through the qualifiers.
Can I jump on the qualifiers?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I was getting G'd up for the last one. I don't know why I didn't do the last qualifier. Oh, the weight. It was the weight. You guys, because the limitation.
We didn't do a heavier one last time, did we?
Yeah, it was 77 kilos, I think. And I compete normally 85 in no-gi. I was looking at the weight cut. I'm like, nah.
I'm not gonna make it.
That was
like 88?
88.
Well, fuck, I got no excuse there.
Fucking shot yourself in the foot now.
Yeah. Is any submissions? Are we talking heel hooks? What are we talking about?
It's just IBJJF blue belt.
Okay, fair. Yeah. That's fair enough. Yeah, got to draw the line somewhere.
Yeah. So then, that was kind of going to be my next question. So in terms of rules, so for no-gi, it's just essentially ADCC rules in terms of what you're allowed to do and not allowed to do?
Across the board, we just say like the IBJJF techniques.
Oh, okay. So the purple belts can't heel hook, but the brown and black belts can?
Oh, yeah. So, and it's if I get two guys say they're purple belts and they say, I want to do full rules, like I'll just say, okay, you're going to do brown and black.
Oh, okay. So you can kind of a little bit of wiggle room, to some degree can take it on a match by match basis.
Like for example, we had Reese Fitzgerald and what's his name? Nem from Grappling Ed, and both blue belts. Well, they're both blue belts then, and they were just both of them were like, I want to do full rules. I was like, okay, so brown and black. IBJJF, you
they're like, I've got so much B team dick in my ass right now. I want to do heel hooks.
We're chill.
Yeah, sick. So, come on, you can't come on the podcast and not give us one more matchup. This episode will, if it helps. This eepisode will release on Friday, right? So if maybe there's a match you're going to announce tomorrow, this isn't going to come out until.
They're already on the poster. Jeremy and Ash Williams.
Nice.
Oh yeah, sick. So, and that'll be a no-gi match, I assume.
That is the main event. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, that's
awesome. Nice. Yeah. So Jeremy's not commentating.
No,
no shit, bro. Come on.
I thought you there. We've been going for a while.
So obviously two guys that have just been to ADCC Worlds. Both both fantastic competitors.
What weight are they? Are they going to meet in the middle?
72, I think it is.
72. Okay, nice.
Ash Williams, he competes a hell of a lot. Every time I go on socials, he's always competing as well. So it's going to be. I'm really interested to see how that goes.
Yeah, sick.
Both got sick leg locks.
That's breaking news.
Oh, that's going to be exciting.
A lot of people saw the post and figured it out.
Yeah. So, what about? Like, I'm also curious. You guys living in the world of obviously not just jiu-jitsu, but events and super fights and all that. What about some of the other upcoming fights? I'd just be curious to hear your opinion of what you think of, the next Gordon and Panna match, which is February 26th, is it? I think off the top of my head. Well, it's in like 3 weeks or something. Yeah. What do you guys think of that as fans of jiu-jitsu and, students of jiu-jitsu, event runners? What do you reckon?
Well, I don't watch any jiu-jitsu. Like I don't even know who Panna is. I know who Gordon Ryan is. I know who else do I know? I know Isaac Michelle because he's been on Subversion. I don't watch anything.
Actually?
No, I watch UFC. I don't watch anything.
Yeah, right.
I think I watched a bit of ADCC, but just the Aussie guys and girls. But other than that, no.
Yeah, it's boring, right? Jiu-jitsu's the fucking worst.
Really. George would tell me, I've got this really good guy for this event. He's been competed. Well, I was like, sweet. I don't know who he is. If you say he's good, sweet.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm quite outside of the loop of a lot of stuff as well. Like, and it's not necessarily whether I watch something or don't watch it, but I just don't spend a lot of time on like social media and stuff like that. So like I've got students who constantly send me like, this guy, have you seen this? I'm like, no, man, like
Anthony, we have this guy at our gym. He's a purple belt, Anthony. Once your full card comes out, he could break down every single person on the card, tell you where they're training, who they're under, fucking everything, man.
He geeks out hard. Okay. Like he'll literally be like, you'll be like, oh, Steve Paul Smith, and he'd be like, oh yeah, he owns a gym in Alice Springs, and
he's under this person. He got his blue
belt out of SJJA Maroubra. Then he moved to Crow's Nest, got his brown belt. But and you're like,
this guy.
He's a savant.
Like he hasn't got a girlfriend. Or?
He does, he does. Yeah, but she trains as well. Okay. So like he could,
So they're both there sitting together, just
straight up. But no, he's a knowledge of the Australian scene is what you would expect, like a mad jiu-jitsu fan's knowledge to be of, like, I don't know, the who's number one scene or something. It's crazy.
Probably if you ever need someone to run statistics for you or potentially be a commentator, like he fucking knows.
Do you remember
everyone?
We had, when we first started doing the live streams, we had this random guy pop up and he was breaking down every match.
I wonder if it was Anthony.
It could have
been. We've since found out who it was, but he was breaking down every match. And George and I messaged each other going, who is this guy and how does he know so much about everyone in Australian Jiu-Jitsu? Like, he was on point with his
and then
description.
And it was, he would also make it funny as well. It was pretty funny. And
like inside
we just
jokes
don't know
if
who
you
it
knew
was.
them.
And it was weird because he knew everything about me. And I was like, right, it's got to be someone we know. And then how did we even find out in the end? Well, it was just Mark Grayson. Do you know Mark Grayson?
No, I don't. Who's that?
He's actually our head ref.
That is excellent.
He's a bit of a troll as well. He loves getting on socials and getting stuck into people.
I remember messaging him going, mate, you're helping us out marketing. Come to the show. We'll let you in for free. He's like, no, it's all good, man. I'm like, all right. Little did I know he's reffing matches.
So who else do you have reffing and judging? I know Warwick's on the scene a lot in terms of he's always reffing, and I know he's reffed Subversion.
He is
events in the
he holds the record for the most Subversion matches reffed. So I was talking about my statistics the other day. He's done, what did I say, 43 bouts.
Yeah, right.
Jeez.
Yeah, he's one of the top refs. Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
Winston is second. He's second on the rankings, but he's got an event on, so he can't make this one. He'll be doing the next one. He might even actually be competing the next one.
Yeah,
cool. He just competed at AJP, I believe.
Did it?
I think so. I think
tell him if he's doing the next one though, that for him to get on the card, he needs to sign a contract that says if he loses, he'll get a haircut.
That's cool.
Yeah, he's got to cut that hair.
Inside jokes here.
Every time I see him, I'm like, Winston, get a fucking haircut, bro. He looks so much better with short hair.
Just At that AJP event, it looked amazing, didn't it? Like I didn't go.
Neither did I.
I just from looking at it on socials,
they had to have lost money.
Yeah, but Kieren was telling me like. So I didn't even know it was on. I saw zero marketing, zero push behind it.
I didn't know it was on either.
And then, so yeah, like it looked, if you look at some of the Instagram reels or whatever, you look at some of the highlights of Levi and Murillo's match, it looks like you're watching, you know, the camera angles and everything. Looks like it's something like watching the Worlds, right? Really nicely done. But Kieren was telling me that from, what gym was it? From Sydney West, they had like 3 brown belts, all from the same gym, who went and competed, who all lost and still walked away with $1,500 prize money.
Well, the venue's $20,000 a day.
Oh my!
Where was it at? It was at Sydney Olympic Park, right?
Key Centre. Yeah. I've
That's
been in
crazy.
there to watch like Crusty Demons before.
Wow.
Oh yeah, nice.
Was that caliber?
Yeah, me
it's,
too.
Yeah, it's massive.
Judo used to do it there too.
Yeah, judo. And I actually, because I know that price because I inquired about it because that's why I wanted to put the next ADCC trials.
Right.
They said, okay, it's $20,000.
Are you running the next ADCC trials?
No, we were hoping we would get a shoe in again, but it's the next trials are Singapore and Thailand. For what I've been told.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So
Damn, that sucks. Because the event itself, like, it was awesome.
it was great. Yeah,
It was so
just
good.
The level of it was just insane.
Oh.
Yeah, well, man, particularly like what blew me away at the trials here was, man, the girls were
They killed it.
Holy shit, they were
phenomenal.
so good. The level was
The caliber was
you
so
know,
impressive.
and like you said, it is a smaller pool, and you know, obviously, just guys tend to be drawn a bit more towards, you know, roughhousing and wrestling and combat sports than girls are. So they're, you know, I think internationally more guys obviously do jiu-jitsu than girls do. But man, like the not just the caliber of the girls, but the numbers as well. There were heaps of chicks in the trials and fighting at very, very professional level. It was crazy good.
Yeah, that Nadia girl.
Nadia was so impressive.
She's really good.
Check out that girl from Unity, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was
And she
crazy.
beat Hope as well, right? In the trials. Didn't Nadia beat Hope? I might be confusing her with someone. But anyway, man, the level was crazy good. You know, it was really, really good. 20,000 for a venue, as someone who doesn't rent venues, that's a huge. Well, I know 20,000 is a lot of money. Yeah, right. Really, holy shit.
But that event, it looked so awesome. It was so well done. It's only gonna elevate the sport here even more, bring more eyes onto everything else that's going on around Sydney and Australia. You know,
it's kind of like rising tides lifts all boats, and that's good for you guys.
Even like for in terms of gyms, like more students, more competitors.
Yeah, I think just unfortunately, I think they need to do a bit more to promote it in Australia, like because in other parts of the world, like you go to, you know, one of my best friends who's we got our black belts both from Fabio. We had similar paths, and he now has his gym in Bahrain, right? He lives in Bahrain. And in that part of the world around, you know, like Abu Dhabi and, you know, Dubai and everything, AJP is huge. And you can, there's fighters over in that part of the world who there's so many AJP events within their vicinity that they can actually make a career or earn a living just by fighting AJP because they always offer prize money. And he was actually going to fly over for the event. Like that's how much of a part of his life AJP is, but the flights were just way too expensive. But, you know, when he was originally looking at the flights, he was going to fly all the way over from Bahrain to Sydney just for that event. But yeah, like I said, I saw no push for it. I saw no marketing. Yeah, when I then saw the Instagram and whatever, the event looked awesome. But I reckon it could have been way better.
They must not have your email then, because I was getting emails.
I was getting the emails.
Yeah, it's probably going straight to the promotions tab that I never looked at.
Yeah, promotions. But I was speaking to one of the boys yesterday, and they said how there was like a team. They have like a sponsored team or something. And all the guys came over from.
They do, like the Sheikh's kids
Sheikh's
and uncle, nephews and whoever else,
And he was speaking to him, and he was saying, they're all super nice guys, like inviting me to, he said they'll invite me to go stay with him out in the Emirates and come train. And
yeah, they're super nice. So they used to like one of the better known, I don't know the exact relation between him and the Sheikh or the family, but one of the better known competitors that they have on their team is a guy called Faisal. I don't know his last name.
Did he come out? I think I saw that.
I think so. He's got like short, curly black hair. Let me find his
the vintage fucking Adam searching Instagram.
This is
every episode.
Is he the one that, what weight is he?
He'd be heavyweight. Yeah,
was he the one that fought Joel Costello?
Was it? He might have, because I saw because Joel fought
yeah.
And anyway, I can't tell if it's him in the video. Anyway, so so those guys used to, back when I lived in Brazil, like they were Faisal and his brothers and whoever else. They had a whole team of them, and they were at the time like purple belts or something, and they flew over and trained with us at Alliance for however long, all preparing and stuff. And yeah, they put a lot of money into it, and they're really good. Previously, I maybe looked at them as, they're just a bunch of people who get away with it because they've kind of got lots of money. But now, like, Faisal's like a credible black belt fighter, competitor. Like they're actual athletes, not just rich kids who do jiu-jitsu. It's like, no, like they're actually credible athletes who kick fucking ass.
Yeah. That's legit. I did have a question I wanted to ask you both when you were here. Noting the way the sport is developing, particularly in your domain as running a super fight, the sport's developing more toward a lean toward no-gi. How does that factor into your decision-making when you're setting up matches or setting up the venue or the future of Subversion, if you will? Is that something you think about, leaning heavily more into no-gi, or you want to stay true to the split?
I've had this conversation with a few other people.
Mainly one.
Yeah, there's a couple. You can see it's going no-gi. Like you can see that trajectory, it's all heading towards no-gi. But if you look at the demographic of gyms in Sydney, there's only a handful. There's only like 3 or 4 teams that are focusing on no-gi. Yeah. It's the majority of gyms around are still all gi gyms. So how am I going to just put a super fight show on just all no-gi when there's only going to be like 4 teams represented? Who's going to come watch that?
Yeah, and they're all 50% of them are all teammates, so they probably don't want to fight each other, or so. Yeah. So
that's why we have the mix of gi and no gi. I still think that's going to be the way for a little while. Yeah.
Do you think, like, one of the things Kieren and I have spoken about on multiple episodes of the podcast is, the sort of split of gi and no gi, and whether. I don't know. I do kind of wonder if it will go in not 2 completely separate directions, but I always use the analogy of, will they become their 2 individual sports like rugby league and rugby union? Like league and union, super similar. And, a league player could more or less instantly transition and go compete in union and vice versa.
I love that analogy because that's the one I always use to my parents. Like, what is the difference? Like, because they're obviously they love rugby league and stuff. That's why they're explaining to it. It's just the same thing, but
same thing, but slightly different. Yeah, and and obviously, league and union, an athlete could pretty seamlessly go between the 2, but they are 2 completely different sports with, their own their own competitions and championships and whatever. Yeah. And I wonder if Jiu-Jitsu will end up there, if they will be seen as 2 different sports. Don't know, similar but different to like judo and wrestling. It's seen as 2 completely different sports, right? Like, but they're both essentially, one is takedowns with a gi on, the other's takedowns without a gi on, right? But it's definitely the no gi trend is strong at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah. And definitely you can see it in America. Like
big time. I mean, they're obviously heavily influenced from wrestling, right? Yeah. Like imagine being in the US, and I mean, I got a little taste of this. Like where I first started training was actually in Canada, and I got a little taste of it there, where you would have a 0 stripe or 1 stripe white belt in jiu-jitsu, but they're like, I've wrestled for 8 years, and you're like, fuck, getting smoked, you know.
Well, yeah, Matt's a 3-time blue belt. He's been given a blue belt 3 times by
Funny you say that though, because I started training with the Slovakian boys. You probably maybe seen him, Jacob Kachanek, his name is. He was coaching out at Gracie Smeaton Grange, and like they're multiple time Slovakian champions. Jacob was 8th in the world, and he did that like white belt, but then was going when he first came over here. Our gym was like, "Do you want to do a comp?" He's like, "Yeah." So they put him in purple belt, and then like just our coach was like, "You're black belt level, just go against them." Sometimes he killed it, and sometimes it just ended badly. Like I remember, I've got footage of David Willis getting him in a triangle once, and he just gets up and just slams him on his back.
Do you out, bro?
Oh, no.
Yeah. You can remind me, speaking of slamming, 80cc rules, you can slam if you're in a submission.
Yeah.
You can, right? Yeah. But IBJJF, you can't at all, right? Regardless of...
Pretty sure you know. There's no slams at all, is there? No.
You guys don't do slams, right?
No. No, it's still, we still just use that IBJJF sort of criteria.
Playing field, everyone knows everyone. It's submission only anyway. So.
Yeah, like when I first started training with Matt, I think I was a brown belt.
Yeah, I think
because I was making some trips into Igor.
Yeah,
and everyone was like, they had like
white and blue belt.
I remember I got crushed by that white belt, and he was like a Russian, like I don't know, it's just some juggernaut. He just crushed me, and he was just like a white belt. And then like Matt, it was blue belt, and he was very good as well. Like
I think I was white at the time of Igor.
Oh yeah,
but yeah.
But where blue belt from first one was the.
Well, it's officially 2. I've been given 2, but yeah. So I went to a gym in Sydenham, and there was a guy running it, and he was a fake black belt, and he gave me a blue belt, and I was like, sweet, like cool. And then I found out later that he, didn't have any qualifications. So then Kel ended up giving me my blue.
Right.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Matt's got a pretty wicked knee bar. He's got me a couple times.
Oh yeah.
Knee bar and guillotine. That's your thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Don't like the guillotines as much anymore.
Which way do you guys go for yourself and your training? Do you prefer gi, no gi? Don't mind either way.
No gi. I hate the gi.
I'm still like both, but I'm just trying to dive more into the no gi and learn more because it's just rapidly progressing all the time. I'm trying to. It's so hard to keep up. Like go to these places like Sydney West, Sydney Wrestling, Grappling Education, and it's just like blues and purples that are just even like starting more advanced than me in certain areas. I'm like shit. I can't just keep doing the same thing I've been doing for years. It's not working. Like I've got to adapt.
You got to keep adapting and progressing. But even like talking about Igor, right? Like they've even come a long way. I remember when I first went in there years ago, when I first moved back from Brazil, I did their submission grappling or submission wrestling, whatever it was labeled as, their class. I mean, it was just wrestling. But I remember this was when Tyson Pedro trained there. It was before Josh Kalibal was in the UFC. And so heaps of these guys had good wrestling. But I remember I would just essentially get blast doubled every time, but then they would instantly get triangled. But it's like they didn't care. They just but they were wrestling, so they'd get the takedown, get submitted, very wrestling styled stuff where they would take you down, but they would land with you on their back or in a crucifix or something. Whereas now, for those who don't know this gym, Igor MMA, it's the 2 main coaches are both named Igor. There's Little Igor and Big Igor. Big Igor's the wrestler. But Big Igor has now, I think he's done multiple privates with Jeremy Paul Skinner, and now he's all into leg locks and heel hooks. And this was a dude who was just pure wrestling. And he's actually fought on Subversion as well. He fought on the one that I did.
He's been on 2, I think.
He fought
Izzy Fetikefu
and Gracie
and Kevin Ryman.
But now he's all into heel hooks and now he can fucking invert now,
That was during lockdown. So they had to shut down the gym like everyone else. So he had his roommates and they were just doing inversions and heel and sitting in 50-50 and working out what. But he was my coach for a good 3-4 years. He's a character.
He is a character. I run into him all the time. I love him.
We were ungraded, and he was going, go in as many comps as you want. You're black belt level. Go get So we'd go in. We'd enter us. I entered myself as a purple when I was white, and ended up getting DQ'd. And Little Igor had to come over, and he's like, bro, that's putting a bad name on us. You're getting DQ'd as a purple belt, I'm just doing my big ego.
Yeah, told me to do. Yeah, you two sorted it out.
He's like, you should have gone in black. Why are you going in purple?
Yeah, the no-gi games come a long way. I'm all for it, but then I also watch, that recent fight of Mikey Musameshi just destroying that dude's leg, and I'm also I'm good. I'm happy to train it, but I don't know if I want to compete with someone doing that.
What was that one?
That was in the One FC or whatever, and I don't know if you saw, that's just a dude refusing to tap from a heel hook essentially, and I think he tore his ACL, his MCL, his meniscus, broken fibula, just the whole leg destroyed.
I told you I don't watch it.
Yeah,
unless it's in the UFC.
Well, on that note, guys, so upcoming Subversion Equinox, March 18th at the Roundhouse. Give it a plug. Where can people, we briefly discussed it'll be streaming on FloGrappling, but where can people get tickets who want to come watch it? And some more details about that.
Moshtix.com.au. That's where you can get the tickets. Also the qualifiers, that's on Smooth Comp. It's easy to find there. Just click events and then you'll be able to see Subversion qualifiers.
Is that being held on the same day?
That's a week before.
A week before. Okay.
On the Saturday at Sydney Wrestling Academy. That's why I went out there last week to scope it out. And it's going to be a good setup to have the qualifiers there. And then I think a bit off what we can chew. We're doing 3 events this year.
And how many matches on this card?
We're at 20.
20, yeah. And then we got the next one in June and then last one in December for this year. So it's a bit.
I'll try to stay out of the operating room, guys.
I was going to call you out.
I don't know. I was funny because in 2021, I had 3 surgeries in the 1 year, right, in 2021. And then last year, 2022, I made it all the way to December and then bam, surgery in December. I couldn't even go a fucking year without a surgery, but anyway, we'll see.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. And everything that we mentioned in today's show, including the link to Moshtix, I'll put in the description of the podcast, so check that out and grab some tickets. And reminder for all the international listeners, it will be on FloGrappling, so check it out.
Yeah. Thank you.
Guys, thanks for coming, and we'll see you at Subversion Equinox.
March 18th.